Yes, we are here again when it comes to farm exploration on Farmers Hub on Romy Royal Television. And today we are currently on a farm that I'm not sure we have visited a goat farm before, and this is the first time we are doing that. And because people keep asking us, we want to start goat farming. Can you visit farms for us to see how we can also start goat farming business as well? And that is why you can see we have sheep, we have ram, and we have goat here. But basically, what they do most here is goat farming. So we want to ask question around how can you start goat farming? Is goat farming, is it profitable? And some other question that you might be wondering or probably you might be thinking of asking in your mind. That is why we come to this farm to ask a question around goat farming business. Olumide is my name. Let's go and see what is happening on the farm.
Good morning.
And thank you for having us on your farm. I want to believe people watching this video they are going to learn a lot about goat farming on this farm because basically what you do here is goat farming. So can you just take us through how you started this business and how has the business been so far? Let me start with that.
I started with vision, and I think we're on a right path. And with time, with lessons, I think we'll get to where we want to go. And that's our prayer to go to. Yes.
So looking at the numbers of goats that you started with,
Yeah.
how many goats did you start with? Let's start from there
I
too.
started with 10 at first. I just did free range at first before building the pen. But once we completed the pen fully, we had about 5. So we started with 5.
So what happened to the 5? You know, you said we started with 10. What happened to the remaining 5?
So we had like 2 males
Okay.
and 3 females. The 3 females gave birth, and then there was beginning to be issues of inbreeding.
Okay.
So I had to get rid of those males. So then incorporated new males into the system so that at least the quality of the breed will be better.
Okay, so still on how you started from how you started. So what lesson do you learn when you are starting that? If you are going to advise someone that wants to start goat farming now, what lesson do you learn then? I think if I know this, I will not even have done this at all.
A lot of things.
Okay.
Where you purchase your goods from. Don't purchase from the market. If you're going to purchase from the market, then you have to really to observe the animal well with time. If not, you will not know what sickness or illness that goat comes with. Secondly is feed. Feed is very important because feed is where most of our cost goes.
Okay.
So if you were to ask me, if I was to start all over again, I'll first create paddocks where I'll plant various grasses such as alfalfa, semantia, bracharia, and the likes. So yeah, feed is very huge. You need also a vet.
Okay, then you never started with a vet.
I
You were
never
like,
started
let me,
with a
let me
vet.
just do it.
So we have a vet that is on speed dial that can come at any time. But at the same time, too, you also need a farm manager or people that are on your farm or your farm hands that can administer first aid. Those are very key. So feed, health, very important, and their housing. Housing is very important. So like I mentioned, initially at the onset, we started with 10, but because they didn't have proper housing, so we lost some without vaccination. Although there was the food there, it was good. But if you don't have proper housing, your goats will also suffer.
So now let's talk about the breeding aspect of it. Now I saw that you have different breeds on your farm.
Right.
So which breeds will you say is good for goat farming, or which of the breeds do you have on your farm, and how have you been managed? Is that proper management, or maybe there is a management practices that you need to do because this one is a breed, this is particular breed, or the other one that you need to do? So talking about breeds now. So what we tell us about it?
Yeah, I mean, first of all the breeds are good to breed. You just have to do gene selection. Gene selection is very important. You need to look at, the weight, the body, and whatnot, and depending on what you want to do.
Okay.
So, for instance, we have the West African dwarfs. We have the Sokoto Reds that is indigenous to
To
us
Nigeria.
in Nigeria.
Okay.
Then we now have the foreign breeds like the Kalahari and the Boa. So those ones are way bigger. So it all depends on your goal. Do you want to supply the local market, or do you want to increase or improve on our genetics here? So my goal is to improve on our genetics. So the end goal for me is to incorporate foreign breeds from South Africa and all not, the Kalahari, the Boas, the Savannah, and crossbreed, because I've seen that farmers here are not very intentional with breeding. So if you look at rural areas where people you see goats roaming around, they're not so particular on, oh, this male has crossed his daughter. So when you do things like that, the gene and the growth rate reduces. But when we do crossbreeding, the growth rate is way bigger than our local breeds.
So let me ask this question, and I want you to be plain with us. Do you think goat farming is profitable?
It is profitable if done well. If your model plan is fine and perfect, you're good. Your record keeping is on point. You track everything. You track what they eat. You track their medication. I think it's very profitable.
So now comparing goat farming to cattle rearing, I think that is a question that I would love to ask. And I've been asking this from different people that are doing cattle. They will tell you cattle rearing is very, very profitable. People doing goat, they will say goat is very profitable. So you, as a goat farmer, which of the two do you think is more profitable?
I think they're both profitable. It all depends on what your strong suit is, what you're strong at. For now, I'd rather do goats and ram farming, but on the long run, cattle is still supposed to be part of it. For instance, a lot of people have advised me to get like a cattle or a cow on the farm because due to waste, like you can see around, there's still food aside the feces that they're cleaning up, right? And if you have cows, you can always feed that. So that way there's zero wastage on the farm.
Okay.
So these are some of the challenges we face as goat farmers. But at the end of the day, they are both profitable if done properly.
If done properly.
Yes.
So now let's talk about their reproduction.
Yes.
Now, what is the gestation period and how many kids can you have in a year if managed properly?
So averagely, each female doe, can give you 1.5 a year.
1.5. I didn't get that.
So 1.5 is, I'm giving an average.
Okay.
So sometimes they could give birth to twins, triplets. So we have a goat now that has 3. Most of the other ones give birth to 2 or 1.
Okay.
So we have majority that give birth to 1. So the fact that it has given birth now in July, it can still give birth by November, December again to another one. So hence why I average it to 1.5 a year.
Okay, that means a goat can give birth twice in a year.
Yes.
Which I think is not possible in cattle rearing. I think they said they have the gestation period like just human being.
Yes.
That is 9 months.
Yes.
So that means for goat, you are looking
For
at
goats,
6 months.
Yes. It's also the same with, depending on the breed of your sheep as well. Those also take longer opposed to goats. Goats is quicker.
Okay, goat is quicker compared to sheep.
Sheep and also cattle.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
So let's talk about the feeding aspect. And I think we need to go inside the pen now.
Due to the fact they're cleaning.
Yes, you need to
exactly.
all of them here. Now close that door. 3.
Yes.
And this is a local breed.
This is our local breed.
This
West
is
African
West
dwarf.
African dwarf.
Yes.
Okay. So these are the 3 kids.
Yes.
Okay. So how many male and how many female?
2 females, 1 male.
2 female,
1 male.
So is that better for you? Is that what you want?
Yes. I'd rather more females so that the farm can expand. Most of the
Okay.
meal will end up going to the market. So if you go to the market, you will notice there's more male animals than female
That's
animals.
true. That's
So
true.
most farmers, your investment is in your females.
As a goat farmer, you want um your goat to give birth to female so that you can
Yes.
expand
Yes.
your farm, because most of the male will go for
Sales.
sales. That's
Yes.
true. And truly, I think I've noticed that it's very rare before you see them saying they want to sell a female goat. So now let's look at the feeding aspect of it. I
Right.
noticed you have something like this.
Yes.
I've visited some farms and this is not what they have when it comes to feeding.
Yeah.
Why do you have this?
So this is what we call the feeding trough, and we initially, like I said, we learn as
Okay.
we go. So how it started was just the trough, without these barriers in it, and the reason is because goats are browsers. When they go into this trough, if they pee on their food, if they poop on their food, they don't eat it anymore. So
So
the food is now
a waste.
automatically waste. So we had to come up with something like this so that only their head can go in.
Okay, so this is
Yes.
just meant for one goat,
Yes.
one goat, one goat.
Exactly.
So your head will only go there, eat what you want to eat,
Exactly.
then you leave.
Leave. So if
Okay.
they have to defecate, urine, they pee on the floor.
So and you have been getting a good result with this.
Yes. Initially, we're wasting a lot of food, but now we're saving way more than, yeah.
Awesome. So now the housing system.
Yes.
Now I noticed that it is raised,
Yes.
and coupled with the fact that before we even enter the farm, we noticed that you have issue with flood.
Yes.
But now, what will you say about the housing system? Is this the best housing system for goat farming?
I believe it's the best housing system for goats. Goats especially. The sheep are slightly different from goats, but goats do not like water. They do not like cold. So when you raise their pen, issues like this, depending on your terrain, where your farm is, it avoids issues of flood. Because once water enters or is disturbs them, it can cause things like PPR.
Okay.
PPR is what is known for their cold. So usually we have to vaccinate twice a year.
For goats.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, we vaccinate all of them as well, but the goats specifically because they are prone to PPR. And PPR, once it enters your farm, it wipes your flock quick.
PPR wipes the flock.
Quick, if you do not isolate properly. Hence why initially I told you, you have to observe your animal. You have to see if their poop is wet or if they have mucus in their nose, if they have like some bones or like things on their mouth, you know that they're sick. So PPR is very, very, very
So you're
deadly.
saying this is the best housing system. It
Yes.
should be raised, and they should not their feeder. They should not have access to, let me say, pooing on their feed or
Yes.
probably doing anything on it.
Yes.
So it must be raised,
It must
even
be
if
raised.
it is going to be a flooded area. At least
It has to be
because
raised.
they don't like cold.
Yes.
So now, can you tell us the difference between the sheep and the goat? I think you mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
So what makes sheep differ from the goats now? Like, what do you think? Which kind of environment do you think sheep can adapt to, but goats cannot adapt
The sheep can adapt to practically any environment.
Okay.
So they really don't care. Although they don't like water, but not as bad as the goats. The
Okay.
goats cannot stand water. So for instance now, there's people that also practice dipping. Just
Okay,
for
dipping for
yes,
maybe for
ticks,
ticks. Okay.
pesticides and whatnot. It's easier for you to dip sheep and rams opposed to goats. Goats do not like water at all.
I'm not sure I've seen where they dip goats.
They also dip goats.
Okay.
But we don't dip. We don't dip because our terrain already, the temperature here is already kind of chilly for them. So what we do is we constantly disinfect the pen.
Okay.
Then we also spray. Then we like pour on and the likes,
Okay.
so that there's no ectoparasites and ticks. Hold the on, hold the on.
What did they do? So looking at I think what we have with me now are
F1s.
okay.
So this is a F1 boa mixed with West African dwarf. And I'll compare him with another West African dwarf male so that you see. And this is way younger than the other one. This one is this is like 7 months old.
Okay,
This is a 7 month old half breed. And you can already feel the difference.
Yes.
When you carry him, you can feel the weight.
This thing you even get.
Exactly. Exactly. So you can see the difference.
Yes, the meat.
Exactly. It's meatier than our
So because
local
this
West
one is
African draft.
like a foreign breed.
Yes,
But
mixed with a foreign breed.
okay. So what will you call this now?
This is F1 Bois.
F1 bois.
Yes.
So that means now on this farm, this can also maybe mount other
Yes,
female,
it
and
can.
they will also give birth to a
Exactly.
mixed breed.
Yes.
Okay. You said the important one of the things that you're trying to do is breeding.
Yes.
So do you think doing breeding, like bringing foreign breeds, is
Yeah.
more profitable compared to doing the local one?
It is because, for instance, when I got his mother, his mother came pregnant. His mother was already crossed by a foreign breed, West African dwarf. So imagine you're buying a pregnant West African dwarf for 250,000 to 300,000. That's profit. Opposed to when you buy our local goods. Right now in our local market, it costs like about 100 to 150. But if you go on the outskirts, you can see them for cheaper.
Okay.
So yes, those are some of the things. That's how you know doing crossbreeding is profitable.
So now, if I said now, I think one of the message I want people watching this video to see is that it is different from you saying you are doing good farming.
Yes.
And you understanding it very well.
Yes.
Now, for you now, I think crossbreeding with different foreign breed is better for you because one, what you're going to get from it is going to be richer, and even the weight compared
Yes.
to what we have with our local breed.
Yes.
So is this the mother?
No, so this is another breed. This is the Kalahari.
Okay.
So the
And how do we
Kalahari.
know it's Kalahari?
So the ears, the coat.
Okay.
Ears is similar to your Sokoto red, but you can also see the ears. Behind you, somewhere around, I'll show you another Sokoto red, and you tell the difference from the ears. Our local goats, their ears stand more, they don't drop as much as this. And see the height. The height too will tell you that yes, this is different. Look at these goats now. They are about the same age.
You mean this goat?
These goats and this
No,
are
wait.
about the same
Let's
age.
do the comparison very well. I need to understand. Hold on. You mean, yeah. You mean this goat?
Yes.
This goat.
These goats and these goats are around the same age.
This is our local goat.
These
our
are local
breed,
goats.
and this is Kalahari.
This is the Kalahari mixed. So now you can see the difference.
No, hold on. I still need to understand very well. Now, you mean this goat? This
Yes.
one? Wait, now calm down. We want to compare. This one, this is our local breed, and this is Kalahari
Yes.
mix. They are of the same age.
Of the same age. This goat is just over 1 year. If not, this one might be older. It takes a year and a half for our West African dwarf to get to full maturity. Mixed breeds and the foreign breeds, it takes roughly 7 to 8 months for it to get to full size. So the growth rate is faster.
Okay.
Hence why it's better for me to crossbreed.
But let's look at the economic importance now.
Yes.
Like getting these breeds, do you think they are expensive compared to our local breeds?
Yes, they are. They are. But the goal for me is to crash that market in Nigeria. So on the long run, the goal is the reason why most of these goats too are expensive. When you do your estimates, when you're getting them from South Africa, you can get the commercial level and there's the pedigree level for those foreign breeds. So when you do your calculation, it depends on where you get your goods from. So for instance, now we are on a commercial level, right? If we get the Boas and the Kalaris at a commercial price, we'll get it for equivalently between 200,000 to a million for commercial level. Then there's the pedigree. Pedigrees can go as high as, funny enough, a foreign breed last year in South Africa sold for over 1 million in their currency, which was like over 100 million naira here.
Okay,
So,
you mean
in South
their
Africa.
currency? So if you are equivalenting it to what we have here, is close to 100 million.
Yes.
For a goat.
Yes. So, and that had to do with selective breeding. So they have been doing it for decades. So that's our goal as well, is we're just starting. We're still fairly new. So the goal is for us to, get there where like the price for foreign goods in Nigeria will be lower.
Okay, the price for foreign goods.
Yes,
In there.
but
So
for
you are
now,
also that's why you are focusing on breeding, so that you can also
yes,
sell out to other
exactly,
farmers that want
exactly.
crossbreed
Yes,
this thing.
or full breed.
Okay.
So eventually, within the next year, so by the time you come back again next year, by the grace of God, I believe would have incorporated some of those foreign breeds into our flock as well.
Awesome. So now, for me to round up, so I want to ask, how will you identify a pregnant um, goat? I know some people at some point, maybe when they get to 3 4 months, their stomach will start to bubble. Like as a farmer, for you to know that okay, this goat is pregnant, what are the signs that you are going to know that they're pregnant?
Like you also said, observing is number one. When you observe, you know, first of all, we have to be intentional about the breeding. You have to know when you've already introduced a male
Okay.
into the circle.
Okay.
So you know when this female is on heat. That's the determinant number one.
So you should know when they are on it.
Yes.
Okay.
Once they're on heat, and you can do synchronized heating as well, where like you put all your females at once. So the next phase of breeding I'm going to do is synchronized mating. That way, if all of them should be on heat the first time, they'll miss it. So the following month, they'll come on heat again together. When you now introduce the male, you will now start counting from there. That's why record keeping is also there.
Very important.
So you have a window of like a week to 2 weeks and say, okay, yes, this male has already serviced 15 females. So you already know this is the sire of whatever they are going to produce. So that's one. Two, you observe. Once you observe, like it takes them 4 to 5 months for them to also give birth after they've successfully crossed. When you observe, you look at their breast. Once their breasts start dropping, you know that they're already coming of stage where they're about to give
Give
birth.
birth. Okay.
Then, even prior to that, you could also check their nipples to see the type of milk.
Okay.
So, if it's watery, no. If it's milky, yes. So these are some of the things. So, and I have people here that are already used to farming with goats in the north.
Okay.
So it makes it easier for them to also identify these things.
So if I want to start goat farming business today,
Yes.
how much can I start with?
You can start small. You can start small. Uh, our advice, feeding has to be covered already. So if, like I said, if I was to start all over again, I'll do proper planting where all this grass that they eat that's high on carbohydrate and protein to be readily available for them. But roughly those seeds are not as expensive as the goats itself.
Okay.
So to purchase goats, depending on what kind of breeding you want to do, I'll say start with one buck and 5 does, which by the end of the year you should have at least give or take 10 to 15 by the end of the year. So if you start with, if you go far and wide, like say like Kwara to get some of your goats, you can get them for as cheap as 70 to 90,000.
Okay.
So 70 times, let's say 5.
That's 350. So that
So
means less than 500 I can start
100,000,
something
500,000 to be safe.
to be
Because
safe. That is
usually,
for the goats now.
yes,
Okay.
usually your buck is always more expensive
Than
than the females.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
So now then the housing and also
Then
the
the
feed
housing
as well too.
has, yes, coming to. So if you wanted to start, I would say you should start with pallets. Construct something with pallets raised, and you're fine. A couple pallets will be able to do the job for you.
Okay, not starting with something like this.
Yes, you can still do it raised, but use pallet as your flooring because
Okay.
you want their droppings to go straight through the cracks. That's also important to keep your pen, because as you entered, it's not as, it doesn't even smell like you're in a goat pen.
Yes.
So these are some of the things you have to, because a clean environment is where your goats thrive.
Is where your goats thrive. So talking about, you said something about PPR, which we are going to use it to wrap up,
Yes.
which is the health aspect of it. So what do we need to know about PPR? And lastly, Can you tell us some things people don't know about goats? You know, so many people say, "Ah, we just eat goats," but there are some things you being a goat farmer, probably you have observed some of these things, you have read about them that you feel people don't really know and you want them to know about goats. Maybe some, maybe two or three of them.
Yeah, so for instance, one key factor a lot of us goat farmers are facing here is the medication. Medication is not readily available to us at all because there's not a lot of goat farmers. So if you even go to the veterinary clinic to purchase uh, these drugs, most times, for instance, the PPR, the last batch I got, they had to bring it from the north. So down
The
this,
southwest
yeah,
there.
exactly, we do not get these things. So those, they're expensive. Even in the markets, as much as I will advise not to get your goats from the market, even within the market, they still medicate their animals. So those are some of the things. So if for some reason or with the effort from the government, they can make these things readily available for us, it will help us a lot.
So what other things do you want people to know? Like maybe some myths that people have already been saying that this is. I think someone said, "Well, how you are going to know that your e-goat is mature, the odor, you know that when you start smelling that, you know that this is mature."
Yes.
So is there any myths that you want us to know about goat farming that you want to tell us about?
Yes. So funny enough, not all of them have that odor.
Okay.
For instance, the foreign breeds, to the best of my knowledge, have not perceived that odor yet. But
Okay.
I can show you another breed that's very short, even older, and than the other boa goats, and you can smell the aroma. So our West African dwarfs, they are big on that. The Sokoto Red, the Sahel, they are big on that. But the foreign breeds, not as much.
Okay. So, lastly, what would be your message or your advice to a younger generation that are looking at starting agriculture, starting something in farming, and looking at goat farming as well? So, what would be your advice to them? That's the final word.
My advice will be to start, not to look down on farmers, because at the end of the day, farmers are the future. We need food security. So the older generation already, even though they're a huge majority of them in, this sector, we still need younger people because we need people that are going to follow through and make sure that our future generations can at least have food sustainability. So yes,
So, you are advising young people to come into the agri space.
I'm advising every young person that, because at the end of the day, most of us these days are just sitting on social media doing what? It's not everybody that's going to make it off social media. I'm not saying social media is bad as well. There's a good in everything, but some of us have to actually go into the field. We need to start learning trades, things like that. That way, our country can move forward.
Do you regret starting goat farming?
I do not at all. I do not. Some funny enough, before I used to be shy to say, oh, I'm a farmer, but now first thing, I'm a farmer.
So, you're happy to be a
I'm
farmer?
happy to be a farmer.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you very much for the farm. And that's a wrap on our farm exploration today. Yes, we are currently live on a goat farm where we've been able to explore so many things about goat farming. You know, we are talking about the breeding, the feeding, the housing, and everything you need to do when it comes to goat farming. And trust me, one of the things I got from this visit is that you can do goat farming business for different purposes, either for meat production or for you are doing it for breeding. But for on this farm, they are doing it for breeding purposes, and they're also selling as well too. I want to believe you are thinking of how can I start goat farming. Go and watch this video, and if you have watched, I think you need to drop a comment and share this video to someone else that want to learn about how to start goat farming business. Olumide is my name. I'm the host of Farmers Hub on Romy Royal Television. I say bye bye and God bless.